Hey y'all. Such a beautiful day in the neighborhood. A beautiful day in the... You see, I can't even...
Thankful for life, no matter how hard life may seem. These words appeared on Aleka Simmons' social media just hours before her life was tragically taken. At 27, Aleka, known to her loved ones as Tata, radiated joy and resilience even in her darkest moments. Her final post would become a haunting reminder of life's fragility and the devastating consequences of domestic violence. Just 2 days after July 11, 2019, when her boyfriend Otis Dennis Walker was arrested for assaulting her, Aleka had posted a telling message. A photo appeared on her social media with the caption, "My screensaver, my love, my life, I miss you." Her attachment to Walker was clear, despite the recent violence that led to his arrest. Her friends commented with growing concern, seeing the dangerous path ahead. But Aleka held on to hope that things could change, that love could conquer the darkness that was consuming their relationship. 3 weeks later, in the early hours of August 1st, 2019, that hope would be shattered by a single gunshot in a quiet Lithonia, Georgia neighborhood. The bond between Aleka Simmons and Otis Walker was complicated by cycles of abuse and reconciliation. On July 11th, 2019, police officers witnessed Walker pushing and dragging Aleka, leading to his immediate arrest. Despite being the victim of his violence, Aleka made the fateful decision to help post his bond. Her closest friend, Ashley Hill, had repeatedly warned her about Walker's escalating behavior. "Just leave him," Hill would plead. She was thinking about leaving him, but he kept reeling her back in. These words would later haunt everyone who knew and loved Aleka. The system had temporarily separated them through Walker's arrest, creating a critical window of opportunity for Aleka to break free. Instead, their toxic bond pulled them back together, leading to her tragic end just weeks later. If you've ever known someone caught in a dangerous relationship, hit that like button right now. This story might help save someone's life. For those watching, take a moment to share this video. Your share could reach someone who needs to hear Aleka's story today. In the comments below, I want you to do something important. Share one warning sign of domestic abuse that everyone should know. Your comment could help someone recognize danger before it's too late. We're building a community that looks out for each other, and every comment adds to this crucial conversation. Subscribe and hit that notification bell because these stories need to be told. They remind us that domestic violence can hide behind social media's smiles and declarations of love. Together, we can break the silence and potentially save lives. Now let's delve deeper into who Aleka Simmons was beyond the tragic headlines. To those closest to her, Aleka wasn't just Aleka. She was Tata, a nickname that captured her vibrant personality. Her father, John Hopwa, spoke of her infectious laugh that could fill a room. Her brothers, Joshua Hakeem Hopwa, Roland Simmons, and Stan Simmons, remembered her as the family's spark plug, always ready with a witty comeback or a word of encouragement when needed. Her cousin, Dion Simmons, often spoke of Tata's spontaneous nature. "She'd call you up at random times just to check on you," he shared. "That was our Tata, always thinking of others, always making sure her people were okay." Her friend Ashley Hill described her as outspoken, but in the best way possible. She wasn't afraid to stand up for what she believed in or to speak her mind when something wasn't right.
Attention, attention. This is to all my ladies out here that be dogging they man, talking about they man, saying they man, they nigga ain't blah, 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 blah. They baby daddy don't do that. Like, stop talking about your man and you still your man. You still living with your man. You still doing whatever. So obviously you still there. So why you trying to clown him, bash him or whatever? Like, obviously it's something you love. Like, either you gonna be with him or you not. Like, I have so many homegirls that just be going through stuff and I be asking them, like, if you going through this, why you still with him? Why you still? What are you doing? Like, don't do that. You look bad at the end of your day, okay? That's all I wanted to say.
After attending North Clayton High School, she pursued higher education at Georgia State University, showing her determination to build a future for herself and her child. Friends described Aleka as someone who could light up any room with her presence. She approached life with refreshing honesty, never afraid to speak her mind or stand up for what she believed in. Her laugh was infectious, and her sense of humor remained intact even during challenging times. What set Aleka apart was her ability to find joy in everyday moments. She danced spontaneously, cracked jokes during serious conversations, and always tried to lift others' spirits. Despite facing her own struggles, she consistently showed up for her friends and family when they needed support. Between work and motherhood, Aleka dreamed of creating a stable, happy life. She had plans to advance her education further and secure a better future for her child. Those who knew her best said she never stopped making plans, never stopped believing in the possibility of a brighter tomorrow. As a performer at Folly's strip club, Aleka approached her work with professionalism and determination. She wasn't ashamed of her career choice, instead owning it with confidence while working towards her broader aspirations. Her coworkers often noted her strong work ethic and ability to maintain her authenticity in an industry that could be challenging. At home, Aleka's world revolved around her child. Despite the demands of her schedule, she prioritized creating memories and ensuring her little one felt loved and secure. The role of mother wasn't just a title for Aleka, it was the driving force behind her daily decisions and long-term goals. On social media, Aleka shared glimpses of her authentic self through playful videos and candid posts. Her content revealed someone who refused to be boxed in by others' expectations. She'd post silly dance videos one day and thoughtful reflections the next, showing the many layers of her personality. Her online presence was marked by an openness that resonated with followers. She didn't hide behind filters or try to present a perfect image. Instead, she shared real moments, the ups and downs, the laughter and tears. Her posts often included motivational messages, encouraging others to stay strong through difficult times. Friends noticed how Aleka's social media activity shifted subtly after meeting Otis Walker. While she maintained her characteristic positivity, new undertones emerged in her posts. She began sharing more relationship content, including photos with Walker and messages about love and loyalty. Yet she continued posting her signature funny videos and life updates, maintaining connections with her online community. Her final post, expressing gratitude for life despite its hardships, captured the essence of who Aleka was online. Resilient, genuine, and determined to find light even in dark moments. This last message would later become a powerful reminder of her enduring spirit and the devastating swiftness with which domestic violence can strike. Otis Dennis Walker entered Aleka's life in early 2019. At 32, he was 5 years her senior and lived in Lithonia, Georgia. Their initial connection seemed promising. Walker presented himself as charming and attentive, qualities that drew Aleka in. They met through mutual friends at a local gathering, and their relationship progressed quickly. Friends noticed how Walker would shower Aleka with attention and affection in those early days. He'd appear at her workplace with surprise gifts, send flowing text messages about their future together, and insert himself into every aspect of her daily routine. To outsiders, it might have looked like a whirlwind romance, but those closest to Aleka would later recognize these behaviors as the first signs of control. Within months, Walker had convinced Aleka to spend more time at his mother Sharon Walker's house in Lithonia. The residence would later become the backdrop for increasingly tense situations. What started as occasional visits turned into extended stays, gradually pulling Aleka away from her independent life and support system.
Get your ass in the car. Get your ass in the car. Get your ass in the car.
The first cracks in Walker's carefully crafted image began to show through his possessive behavior. He'd question Aleka about her work schedule, demanding to know who she talked to during her shifts. His calls became more frequent, often multiple times per hour when they weren't together. Walker's demeanor would shift dramatically when things didn't go his way. He began monitoring Aleka's phone, questioning her about likes and comments on her social media posts. When she'd spend time with family or friends, he'd send a barrage of messages, alternating between expressions of love and accusations of betrayal. Aleka's coworkers noticed changes in her routine. She started receiving endless calls during work hours, and sometimes Walker would show up unannounced, watching from a distance. If Aleka didn't respond to his messages quickly enough, he'd create scenes that made her feel embarrassed and isolated. Those who witnessed these early signs saw how Walker would quickly switch between aggression and apology, leaving Aleka constantly walking on eggshells. Each incident would end with promises of change and declarations of love, creating a cycle that became increasingly difficult for Aleka to break. By early July 2019, Walker's controlling behavior had evolved into physical aggression. Arguments that started over small issues, a missed call, a late return home, a conversation with a coworker, would end with Walker grabbing Aleka's arms, pushing her against walls, or preventing her from leaving rooms. The incident on July 11, 2019 marked a critical escalation. Police officers witnessed Walker pushing and dragging Aleka in public, leading to his arrest. This public display of violence showed how bold he had become, no longer concerned about hiding his actions from others. During this period, Aleka began making excuses to family about unexplained bruises. She'd miss family gatherings more frequently, always with last-minute explanations that didn't quite add up. Her once active social media presence became sporadic, with gaps between posts growing longer. Sharon Walker, Otis's mother, later revealed she had noticed tensions rising in her home. Arguments became more frequent and intense. Yet, like many victims of domestic violence, Aleka would minimize these incidents, often saying they were working things out or going through a rough patch. Ashley Hill stood at the forefront of efforts to help Aleka escape Walker's influence. She repeatedly reached out with quiet offers of support, creating safe moments where Aleka could speak freely about her situation. "Just leave him," Hill would say during their private conversations, recognizing the increasing danger her friend faced. Other friends noticed how Aleka's vibrant personality began to dim. Her characteristic laughter became less frequent, her spontaneous dance videos fewer. When they'd gather for rare moments without Walker present, they'd try to remind her of her strength, of the life she'd built before him. Coworkers developed subtle signals to warn Aleka when Walker appeared at her workplace, giving her time to prepare for his unexpected visits. They offered their phone numbers, addresses, and promises of shelter if she ever needed to leave quickly. But Walker's influence ran deep. Each time Aleka would consider leaving, he'd find ways to pull her back, through promises, apologies, or threats. Her friends watched helplessly as she returned to him repeatedly, hoping each time that his promises of change were real. The July 11th incident marked a crucial turning point in the legal system's involvement with Walker and Aleka's relationship. Following his arrest, court documents revealed that this wasn't Walker's first encounter with law enforcement. He had a history of aggressive behavior that hadn't been previously disclosed to Aleka. In the holding cell, Walker made numerous calls to Aleka. His tone alternated between remorse and manipulation, promising a complete transformation while subtly reminding her of their shared future plans. Despite the serious nature of the charges, Walker focused his conversations on securing his release rather than acknowledging the gravity of his actions. During this period, Aleka faced intense pressure from both Walker and his family to help secure his freedom. What appeared as a potential escape route, his arrest and detention, instead became another test of her loyalty. After securing his release, Walker's initial behavior seemed to validate Aleka's hopes for change. He attended mandatory counseling sessions, though court records would later show his participation was minimal. He spoke about finding legitimate employment and making amends with Aleka's family. To the outside world, Walker projected an image of reformation. He accompanied Aleka to family gatherings, moderated his public behavior, and temporarily reduced his controlling habits. These surface-level changes reinforced Aleka's belief that the arrest had served as a wake-up call. However, within the walls of Sharon Walker's home, a different reality emerged. Walker began establishing new methods of control, more subtle than before, but equally restrictive. He insisted on Aleka staying at his mother's house more frequently, claiming it showed their commitment to a fresh start. This arrangement also allowed him to monitor her movements more closely while maintaining a facade of improvement. In the last week of July, signs of Walker's mounting tensions became evident. His superficial calm began cracking under the pressure of pending court appearances and mandatory check-ins related to his release conditions. The facade of change he'd maintained started to crumble. If you're watching this video and recognizing similar patterns in your own life or someone you know, this is the moment to pause and reflect. The cycle of promises, brief changes, and return to abuse is all too common. Take a second right now to hit that like button if you've ever witnessed someone making promises of change that didn't last. In the comments below, share your thoughts. What makes it so difficult for people to leave these situations? Your perspective might help others understand they're not alone in their struggles. Remember, every comment builds a supportive community where these crucial conversations can happen. If you haven't subscribed yet, now is the time to join us. These stories aren't just about the past. They're about recognizing warning signs and understanding how crucial immediate action can be. Hit that notification bell, because every story we share could be the wake-up call someone needs. July 31st, 2019 began like any other day. Throughout the day, she went about her normal routine, unaware of how events would unfold. That evening, the atmosphere in Sharon Walker's home grew increasingly tense. A minor family member in the house noticed the mounting friction between Aleka and Walker, leading to Sharon's eventual involvement in trying to defuse the situation. Close to midnight, Aleka made what would become her most critical call to 911. Her voice, recorded on the emergency call, revealed both fear and determination as she stated, "This is Aleka Simmons. If anything happens to me." In the background, a heated argument could be heard, with Aleka's haunting questions clearly captured. "Are you threatening me? You're gonna kill me?" DeKalb County Police Department responded to the scene but left after finding the home dark and quiet. This decision would later raise serious questions about police response protocols in domestic violence situations. Sharon Walker's role in the final hours became pivotal. Awakened by one of the minors in the house who sensed the growing danger, she went to check on her son and Aleka. Finding them in a tense situation, Sharon made a critical offer. She proposed giving Aleka a ride away from the house, recognizing the immediate danger. However, when Otis mentioned that Aleka planned to speak with police, he quickly closed the bedroom door, cutting off his mother's intervention attempt. Sharon found herself in the devastating position of a mother witnessing her son's escalating behavior while trying to protect Aleka. These moments would later haunt Sharon, who had tried to serve as a buffer between the couple. Her attempt to remove Aleka from the situation represented one of the final opportunities to prevent the tragedy that followed. After Otis closed the bedroom door, the sound of a single gunshot shattered the night's tension. Sharon, who had remained nearby out of concern, immediately understood the gravity of what had just occurred. Acting quickly, she gathered the two minors who were in the house. The three fled the residence together, their hearts pounding as they ran to a neighbor's house. In these crucial moments, Sharon's priority shifted to protecting the young ones while seeking help. From the safety of their neighbor's home, they called 911. Their voices trembling as they reported what had happened. Their escape and immediate call for help would prove crucial for the investigation that followed. Sharon's quick thinking in removing the minors from the dangerous situation potentially prevented additional casualties on that tragic night. When officers first responded to Sharon Walker's 911 call, they approached the residence cautiously. Officer Derek Nunn led the initial response team. As they neared the house, Walker had already positioned himself strategically inside, having turned off lights in various areas to create blind spots. The gravity of the situation escalated immediately as Walker opened fire on the approaching officers. Officer Nunn was struck 4 times, forcing the response team to retreat and call for backup. In these critical moments, they couldn't reach Aleka, who lay wounded in the upstairs bedroom. The incident quickly evolved from a domestic violence call into a tactical situation requiring SWAT intervention. Only after securing the scene would officers finally be able to enter the home, where they would find Aleka with a fatal gunshot wound to the chest. After the shooting, Walker fled into the dense woods surrounding the Lithonia area, triggering one of DeKalb County's largest manhunts. Law enforcement mobilized multiple agencies, including the DeKalb County Sheriff's Office Fugitive Task Force and local police departments, in their search for Walker. For 7 tense days, Walker managed to evade capture while moving through the area. The community remained on high alert, with residents reporting potential sightings to law enforcement. Schools and businesses in the search zone operated under increased security measures. The search intensified as investigators received credible tips about Walker's movements. They focused on areas where he might seek shelter or assistance, knowing he had limited resources and few places to turn. The pressure of the sustained search operation, combined with Walker's increasing isolation, would eventually lead to a breakthrough. On August 8, 2019, the DeKalb County Sheriff's Office Fugitive Task Force and DKPD finally cornered Walker. After a week of running, his resources and options had been exhausted. When authorities took him into custody, they discovered something unexpected: a handwritten letter in his possession. The letter contained an apology addressed to Officer Nunn and the police department. This discovery added another layer to Walker's complex actions. He had taken the time during his flight to write about shooting the officer, yet showed no written remorse for taking Aleka's life. During his capture, Walker offered no resistance, a stark contrast to his violent actions a week earlier. Law enforcement found him physically depleted from his days on the run, bringing a quiet end to a manhunt that had kept the community on edge. In September 2023, Otis Dennis Walker faced the justice system for his actions. During the trial, Walker attempted to claim self-defense in Aleka's shooting, a claim that quickly unraveled under scrutiny of the evidence. He also stated he had fired at officers hoping they would end his life, yet his week-long escape attempt contradicted this assertion. The prosecution presented a compelling timeline of events, supported by testimony from Sharon Walker and other witnesses. The 911 recordings of Aleka's final call played in court, letting jurors hear her fear firsthand. Each piece of evidence painted a clear picture of premeditated violence rather than Walker's claimed self-defense. The trial also revealed the pattern of escalating abuse, with documentation of the July 11th incident serving as crucial evidence of Walker's history of violence against Aleka. The jury reached their verdict swiftly, finding Otis Dennis Walker guilty on all counts: malice murder, felony murder, aggravated assault, 3 counts of aggravated assault on a law enforcement officer, and possession of a firearm during the commission of a felony. During sentencing, the judge delivered a powerful message about the devastating impact of domestic violence on families and communities. The court showed no leniency, given the premeditated nature of Walker's actions and his subsequent attack on law enforcement. Walker received the maximum sentence possible: life in prison without the possibility of parole, plus an additional 65 years. The judge emphasized that this sentence reflected both the gravity of his crimes against Aleka and his attempt to take Officer Nunn's life. Roland Simmons, Aleka's brother, addressed the court after sentencing with words that echoed the pain of preventable loss. "If they would have stayed the first time, this probably wouldn't have even happened," he stated, referencing the police response on that fatal night. His words highlighted the critical gaps in how domestic violence calls are handled. The family's grief was compounded by the knowledge that multiple systems had failed Aleka. John Hopwa, her father, spoke about the challenges of watching his daughter trapped in an abusive relationship, unable to convince her to leave permanently. Her brothers, Joshua Hakeem Hopwa and Stan Simmons, shared memories of their sister's vibrant spirit and her dreams for the future. Ashley Hill, who had tried repeatedly to help her friend escape, became an advocate for domestic violence awareness in Aleka's memory. The family united in their commitment to ensure Aleka's story would serve as more than just another statistic. It would become a catalyst for change in how domestic violence cases are handled by law enforcement. Right now, I want you to pause and ask yourself these crucial questions. Do you know someone who makes excuses for their partner's behavior? Have you noticed a friend becoming increasingly isolated from family and friends? Are you seeing someone's vibrant personality slowly dimming? If you answered yes to any of these questions, take action today. Like this video to help it reach others who might be in similar situations. Subscribe to our channel because we'll continue sharing these important stories that could save lives. In the comments below, share your thoughts on this question. What would you tell someone who says, but they promised to change after a violent incident? Your insight could give someone the strength they need to make a life-saving decision. Remember Aleka's final social media post about being thankful for life. Sometimes the people struggling the most hide behind messages of positivity. Look deeper, listen harder, reach out more often. Aleka Simmons' story has become a powerful catalyst for change in DeKalb County's approach to domestic violence calls. Her case highlighted critical gaps in emergency response protocols, leading to enhanced training for officers handling domestic disturbance situations. Every hang-up call, every request for help, now receives deeper scrutiny. Her friends and family transformed their grief into action, establishing support networks for domestic violence victims in the Atlanta area. These grassroots efforts focus on providing immediate assistance to those seeking to escape abusive relationships, offering safe housing, legal aid, and emotional support. Aleka's story continues to resonate with many who find themselves caught in the cycle of broken promises and renewed hope. Today, her legacy lives on through the lives she's helped save. People who heard her story and found the courage to leave dangerous situations before it was too late. In sharing Aleka's story, we honor her memory by potentially saving others from a similar fate.